Imagine this. World War II. Somewhere in the shadows of a European battlefield, German soldiers, battle-hardened and confident, encounter something new, something strange. They see it in American hands, a weapon. But not like any weapon they've ever seen before. It looks cheap, almost laughable. Like someone grabbed parts from a factory floor and welded them together in minutes. The German troops actually laugh. They mock it. "What is this?" they whisper to each other. "It's a plumber's tool. They call it the grease gun, because that's exactly what it looks like, something you'd use to lubricate machinery, not kill men." But here's the thing about underestimating your enemy. It can be fatal. This ugly, crude-looking weapon, it doesn't care what you think. It doesn't need your respect. Just needs to work. And when it starts firing in those narrow hallways, when it echoes through the shattered streets of bombed-out cities, when it cuts through the morning mist in dark forests, the laughter stops. German soldiers suddenly realize something terrifying. This weapon that looked like junk, it's everywhere, in the hands of tank crews, paratroopers, support personnel. Even drivers who used to carry nothing but pistols now have automatic firepower, and it keeps firing. Through mud, through snow, through conditions that would jam their precious, carefully crafted weapons. So the question becomes how did the ugliest gun of the war become one of the most feared? How did something built from stamped metal and bent wire become a nightmare for the most disciplined army in Europe? The answer begins in 1941. While German forces are dominating Europe with their MP-40 submachine guns, American military observers are watching, taking notes, learning. They see how the British Sten gun, crude but effective, is being mass-produced. They study combat reports from Western Europe. And they reach a chilling conclusion. The age of beautiful weapons is over. This is industrial warfare now. Victory won't go to whoever has the most elegant rifle or the most carefully machined parts. Victory goes to whoever can arm the most soldiers, the fastest, with weapons that simply work. October 1942, the U.S. Army Ordnance Department initiates a secret program. The mission: design an American submachine gun that can be produced at incredible speed. Forget elegance. Forget tradition. This weapon needs to be simple, fast to manufacture, and devastating at close range. The specifications are brutal in their simplicity. All sheet metal construction. Minimal machining required. Heavy bolt to keep it controllable. Accurate enough to put 90% of shots on target during full automatic fire. They're not trying to build the prettiest gun. They're building a killing machine that can be stamped out like car parts. George Hyde gets the assignment. Frederick Sampson handles production. And what they create will change everything. The T-20 prototype fires over 5,000 rounds in testing with only 2 failures. 4 different military branches test it. All approve. December 1942. It gets a new designation, M3. And German soldiers, they have no idea what's coming for them. Summer 1944, France. The beaches of Normandy are still smoking, and German soldiers are about to meet their new enemy. They see it first in the hands of American paratroopers, then tank crews, then everywhere, this strange, ugly weapon that looks like it was pulled from a mechanic's toolbox rather than an armory. Moment. You're a German soldier. You've been trained on the finest weapons your nation can produce. Your Mauser rifle, precision engineered. Your MP-40, carefully machined, balanced, refined. You take pride in your equipment because your equipment looks like it means business. Then you see this thing, the M3, a receiver made from welded sheet steel, a stock that's literally just bent wire, no selector switch, no polish, no soul. It looks unfinished. Like someone started building a weapon and then just stopped. You laugh. Your squad mates laugh. The Americans brought toys to a real war. Someone jokes. And then it fires. The sound is different, rougher, but those point for .5 caliber rounds. They hit like a sledgehammer in the cramped streets of French villages and the maze of hedgerows. In the ruins of buildings where most fighting actually happens, the M3 is devastating. But here's what makes it truly terrifying. It keeps working. When your MP-40 jams because of mud, The M3 keeps firing. When dirt clogs your weapon, and you're desperately trying to clean it under fire, the American across from you just keeps shooting. See, the M3 was designed with something German engineers never fully embraced: generous clearances. Loose tolerances. The bolt rides on dual guide rods with enough space for dirt, sand, and fall right back out the dust cover. It seals the action when not firing. Your weapon has an exposed ejection port that needs constant maintenance. The M3. It's built to be abused. And German intelligence. They're noticing something disturbing. This weapon works just as well in the Pacific jungles as it does in European mud. That's not supposed to be possible. But there it is. August 1944, Brittany. The M3 is everywhere now. Tank commanders keep one ready because it fits inside cramped turrets. Drivers who used to be virtually unarmed now carry automatic weapons. Support troops, medical personnel, even rear area positions are suddenly bristling with close-range firepower. You can't plan around it anymore. Every American position is potentially lethal. Every encounter could mean facing automatic fire. And here's the thing that really starts to gnaw at German soldiers in those long, dark nights. It's not just that Americans have this weapon. It's how many they have. Your squad is carefully rationing ammunition, salvaging parts from damaged weapons, making every bullet count because replacements are uncertain. You watch Americans discard damaged M3 self like they're empty ration cans. Not repair them, not salvage them, just to throw them away and grab new ones. That's when the hatred really begins to build, because you're starting to understand something terrible. This isn't about who has the better weapon anymore. This is about who can afford to waste. You can't. Them. The truth is becoming impossible to ignore. You're losing, not because American soldiers are better trained, not because their tactics are superior. You're losing because they can afford to lose. And you can't. Let me paint you a picture of what this means on the ground. The M3 grease gun costs a fraction of what a Thompson costs to manufacture. One Thompson. The Americans could build 10 M3s for the same price. General Motors Guide Lamp Division, a company that makes car parts, not weapons, is pumping out over 66,000 M3s between 1943 and 1945. Think about that. Car part manufacturers are making submachine guns, and they're making them faster than Germany can replace anything. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. The M3 wasn't even designed to be perfect. It was designed to be good enough. And when problems appeared, because of course they appeared, the American response was chilling in its efficiency. Early 1944. Reports come in. Cocking handle failures. Bent rear sights. Barrel retention issues. Accidental magazine releases. Any normal military would halt production. Redesign. Start over. America, they just fix it while the assembly lines keep running. Mid-production improvements, better heat treatment, reinforced sights, stronger ejectors, magazine release guards, stock stops. The weapon's getting better while you're fighting it, while you're still trying to maintain weapons designed years ago with parts you no longer have. December 1944, M3A1 appears. The problematic cocking handle, gone. Now you retract the bolt with a finger slot. Simpler, lighter, more reliable. Field stripping becomes easier. Everything becomes easier for them. Meanwhile, you're in a frozen foxhole trying to keep your weapon functional with improvised parts and prayers. June 6, 1944, D-Day. Paratroopers from the 82nd and 101st Airborne hit Normandy with M3 South. At first, even Americans aren't sure about it. It feels cheap compared to the Thompson. Flimsy. But then they fight with it. Tank crews trapped inside Shermans. They love it. Corporal Carlton Chapman of the 761st Tank Battalion keeps his M3 at hand, ready to spray enemy forces if his crew has to bail out under fire. Infantry units start calling it the best tool for patrol work. Quick to bring into action. Deadly at short range. Technical Sergeant Charles Carey carries his M3 during an attack at Rimling, France in January 1945. He forces dozens of German soldiers to surrender, then turns off an enemy tank with a submachine gun that looks like a grease gun when parts fail in the field. American soldiers don't wait for official fixes. They bend magazine releases with hammers, swap springs to adjust fire rate, jury-rig charging handles, and these improvised repairs work in close quarters, inside buildings, down narrow streets, in dark forests. Inside vehicles, the M3 proves itself again and again. Not flashy, not famous, just dependable. When it matters most. And for German soldiers, each encounter with this ugly, simple weapon drives home the same horrifying message: your enemy doesn't need perfect weapons, they just need enough of them. And they have more than enough. So why did the M3 win? Why did German soldiers hate it so much? Let me tell you what they understood too late. The M3 didn't outperform other World War II submachine guns because it was more accurate or technologically advanced. It won because it was designed around a truth that Germany refused to accept. Modern war isn't won by craftsmen, it's won by factories. Look at the numbers. At just under 8 pounds and loaded with an 8-inch barrel, the M3 was dramatically lighter than the Thompson. Shorter. Easier to carry in tight spaces. Easier to store in vehicles. Faster to bring to bear on target. In the ruined cities of Europe and the hedgerows of France, in forests and armored vehicles, this mattered more than anything else. A 10-pound Thompson with a longer barrel became a burden. The M3, it was an extension of the soldier's will. The cyclic rate, roughly 450 rounds per minute, slower than the Thompson or MP40, and that was exactly the point. Higher rates of fire sound impressive, but they burn ammunition and reduce controllability. The M3's heavy bolt and low-pressure .45 ACP cartridge allowed soldiers to keep bursts short and on target. In close combat, fewer well-placed rounds mattered more than volume. But here's the real genius, and the real horror if you were German. The M3's loose tolerances and simple blowback system meant it kept running in mud, sand, and debris. The Thompson needed constant maintenance. The MP40 relied on tight tolerances and easily damaged magazines. The Sten was notorious for accidental discharges. The M3, it just worked, even compared to Germany's own MP40. The M3 reflected something more ruthless. The MP40 was simplified, yes, but still constrained by Germany's limited production capacity. The M3 was built on the assumption that weapons could be replaced rather than repaired. A luxury Germany couldn't afford by 1944. And here's the truly chilling part. The M3 didn't disappear after World War II. It became the primary submachine gun in Korea. It served through Vietnam, through the Gulf War. It remained on armored vehicles into the 1990s. Suppressed versions were used by the OSS and later by Delta Force. It appeared in counter-terrorism operations decades after Germany's defeat. Foreign copies showed up in Argentina, China, the design philosophy was that sound, not beautiful, not elegant, but brutally, undeniably effective, for German soldiers in 1944. The grease gun was a mirror reflecting an unbearable truth. The war was no longer being decided by superior engineering or battlefield genius. It was decided by who could build faster, replace quicker, and keep fighting longer. From the streets of Normandy to the forests of Europe, the M3 grease gun proved that simple engineering could outsmart even the most disciplined enemy. Germans hated it. American soldiers loved it. And history proved it right. The ugliest weapon of World War II became one of the most feared, not because it looked intimidating, but because it represented something far more terrifying than any carefully crafted rifle ever could. It represented the future of war itself, and Germany was on the wrong side of that future. That's why they hated the grease gun, because every time they saw it, they saw their own defeat.